It started as what I thought was harmless banter. We were at a family barbecue, laughter filling the backyard, drinks flowing, and conversations bouncing from one corner to another. My husband, David, had been standing beside me most of the evening, chatting with relatives and keeping the mood light. He'd always been the steady one, calm, grounded, the kind of man who never needed to be the loudest in the room to command respect. Then, in a moment of thoughtless humor, I made the worst mistake of my life. Someone asked jokingly if I ever got tired of being married so young. Without thinking, I laughed and said, "Well, if I'd waited a little longer, maybe I would have ended up with someone like Mark." Mark was one of David's friends, standing right there, beer in hand, grinning uncomfortably. The words slipped out of my mouth before I realized the weight of what I'd just done. A few people chuckled awkwardly, thinking it was all light-hearted. But David, he didn't laugh. I turned to look at him, and his expression is something I'll never forget. His eyes went cold, his jaw tightened, and for the first time in years, he looked at me as if I were a stranger. He didn't yell. He didn't cause a scene. He just set his drink down on the table, nodded once, and said quietly, "I'm done." Then he walked away. At first, I thought he was just taking a breather, that he'd come back once he cooled off. But he didn't return that night. He didn't call. He didn't answer when I reached out. By the next morning, his side of the closet was empty. His toothbrush was gone. The keys to his truck were no longer hanging by the door. It was as though he had vanished, leaving only silence in his place. I tried calling him dozens of times. My texts went unanswered. I even drove to his brother's house, only to be told David didn't want to see me. The weight of my joke hit me like a freight train. What I thought was a harmless comment had cut into his trust, his dignity, and his heart. People say words can't break a marriage, that actions matter more. But that night, I learned that words can slice deeper than any blade when they expose cracks you didn't even realize were there. My husband had given me loyalty, trust, and love, and in one careless moment, I had made him feel like he was never enough. And just like that, he walked away forever. Now, every time I think back to that evening, I hear my own laughter echoing in my ears, and I wish I could swallow it whole. But there's no undoing what's been said, and no way to call back a man who left not in anger, but in heartbreak.